Hey, Tom here from the Run Testers. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the New Balance Fresh Foam More Trail V1. Let's see what I thought. So first, let's take a look at those stats. It costs £140 or $164.99. It weighs in for men at 307 grams or 10.8 ounces, and there's a 4mm drop. So the Fresh Foam More Trail, it's a shoe, as you can see, with quite a lot of cushioning. I mean, that isn't all cushioning. It's a little bit of overlap from the midsole, but it's got a lot of cushioning, and it's a shoe designed for comfort over long miles, probably best suited to more sort of long distance trail running. That midsole is Fresh Foamx, which is the more recent midsole that New Balance has been adding to a lot of their shoes. It's a really nice midsole material. It's in the Fresh Foam 1080 V10s, which it does a really nice job in. That's a good shoe, and it's really good for longer distance training miles. But it's still it's quite responsive as well. It's also got a breathable upper, and there's quite a few elements in it that are designed for stability on the trails. So this midsole section here, that's actually an overlap of the midsole that's designed to add additional stability to the heel section, so that when you're running, it's keeping your ankle and heel in place. So there's a bit more firmness and support over training miles. The outsole section there that you can see with this interesting colorway that goes all the way down it is actually a combination of a couple of different materials. So you've got the midsole Fresh Foamx that kind of points through here, but you've also got this rubber covering that goes across the whole of the shoe. It's not very the lugs are quite small on this. I mean, they're really small on this. They're tantamount to a road shoe, basically, with a little bit of extra grip on it. But there's also these flex grooves, which you can see in the middle of here. There's a bit of midsole showing through, and the idea behind that is that when you're running, the front of the shoe flexes. I won't do it now because I'm going to get mud all over my floor. But the flex of the shoe allows you to have a more natural running movement, as opposed to having a rigid full midsole and outsole there that doesn't give you the kind of ability to jump around and move across rocks and things like that. So I've been running in the Trail More V1. I've done about 80k in it so far, and I've enjoyed running in it quite a bit. It's a really comfortable shoe. As you can see from the design, it looks like it's a shoe made for comfort. And I think it's probably best suited to those kind of hard, dry trails where you're maybe in kind of long trails that they have in America, where there's a lot of small rocks and things, and you just want something that's going to be really comfortable and take the brunt of the ground over long periods. And it does a great job at that. It's really cushioned, and it's just really well designed for just taking the brunt of the hard ground as you're doing a lot of miles. Being in the UK, and you'll find that we do talk about this quite a lot when we review shoes, because we are all based in the UK, and in the UK it does get muddy quite a bit. So when it comes to the mud and kind of navigating really wet, slushy ground, there's not a lot of traction from those lugs there. It's really small. So as soon as you get onto kind of wet mud, it's not much point in the shoe, because there's not a lot of grip in wet mud, and it just gets clogged up instantly. So it's almost like running in a road shoe when you're in wet mud. But I don't think that's what it's designed for. I think it's a shoe designed for harder trails where you're kind of running across rock and gravel and stone. And in those instances, it does work really well. It's quite hard to test that fully in the UK, and at the moment we're in lockdown in the UK at the moment, so we can't even get out to the mountains and things like that. But it on hard surfaces, it does deliver very well. It's very comfortable, and the flex at the fit at the front, I didn't really notice it too much the first few times I ran in it because I didn't even know it existed really. But once I read about it and then I was trying to feel for it, you do notice that there is quite a nice level of flex in the front of that works well with the midsole Fresh Foamx material. And if you are kind of jumping between surfaces, it does feel quite nice, and you do have a lot more purchase on those surfaces based on the fact that your foot is moving around more. It doesn't feel rigid in any way, so it's quite nice from that perspective. This stability section here, where they've kind of covered up a little bit of the upper with extended midsole material, I didn't really notice it, but I also felt that these are quite a stable shoe, so it's probably working. If that is doing it, I mean, it's quite a roomy shoe. So if it didn't have additional stability elements in it, it might feel a little bit too flexible, a little bit too relaxed for certain trails. I think it probably, if you've got narrow feet, this is going to be far too wide for you because there's quite a lot of give in it. And that's going to obviously have an effect on the stability, especially as you kind of move around corners where you want more stability and protection to make sure that you're not moving around and you've got a nice secure fit. For me, it was fine. I didn't really notice any problems with stability issues at all. But saying that, it is quite roomy. So, and you really want a nice lockdown fit with a trail shoe, which you might want to be wary of when you're wearing these. By far the best bit of the shoe is this midsole. So it does, when you're running on hard ground, whether that's hard mud or kind of gravelly, rocky areas, the cushioning is great. It just feels really soft and just really nice to run in. But having said that, if you're on soft ground, not necessarily muddy ground, but just soft mud or soft grass, it doesn't really help a lot. It's almost counterproductive because you get the softness of this and the softness of the grass, and it does feel like you're putting a bit more effort, which is why I think this is a shoe designed for hard ground, really. And yeah, if you're running on softer ground, you probably want something with thicker lugs and harder midsole. The outsole, as I've mentioned, there's not a lot of rubber covering that, so it's not particularly well designed for technical terrain. So if you were really running across areas that have quite sharp, pointy sections that are coming out, that's probably not going to give you enough protection. It's not really designed for really technical terrain. It's for more longer distance, kind of general terrain. And as well, another factor in that as well is at the front you've got this kind of extended rubber section for a little bit more protection at the front of the toe, but it's really just an extended little bit of rubber. So if you're running on technical terrain with that and you're expecting that to protect the front of your feet against anything like a sticking out rock, or you get your foot trapped in something, that's not going to do a lot protecting for it. So another reason why I don't think this is a really heavily technical shoe. It's a general shoe designed for more comfortable long distance trails. One of the things I always do when I have trail shoes that have this level of cushioning and quite minimal lugs is I tend to test it out on the road just to see how it does. And this delivers really well. It delivers essentially like a road shoe. It's very cushioned. It's quite responsive. That Fresh Foamx is a really nice kind of mid-level foam for running longer distances and being able to kind of have a nice responsive feel when you're running. So it delivers very similar to something like the New Balance Fresh Foam 1080 V10 for that, and that gives you a nice indication of probably what it's designed for. Those kind of harder, longer trails where you're actually running on something that's similar to like road material on the ground, as opposed to soft kind of muddy terrain or grassy terrain. So yeah, it's plush, it's comfortable, it's a good general trail shoe if that's what you're looking for. I think it's also promoted in some material as a kind of hiking shoe as well, which is a great way to use it, because I think this would be really comfortable as a hiking shoe if you wanted to use it that way. But if you're looking for something a little bit more technical, or if you're somebody that runs in an area like in the UK where it can get muddy and it can get slippy, it's not going to do the job. But really for those long, general trails where you just want something that's like a road shoe that just gives you an extra bit more traction, a little bit more grip, it does a good job. And yeah, it's just a nice all-round shoe for those sorts of trails. So that's it from me. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the little bell icon there, and leave us a comment if you got any questions about this or any other shoe. And check out all the other videos we've got on the channel, from the latest shoes, whether that's road or trail, to all the latest headphones and running watches that you might be interested in. Thanks a lot for watching. See you soon.